talking about changing cultural norms as we transition to our final topic of the day. Because if vulnerable children can be exploited and vulnerable families can be attacked, then we must ask another question. Where is the leadership that is supposed to help create an infrastructure for us to protect and organize our communities? And then I know most of y'all like me, it's like, what leadership exactly? But another problem is the whatever type of leadership we have today is very, very, very flawed. And it goes into this conversation these gentlemen here were having. So check this out.
All group of people made a whole lot of money. Now, no matter what they did, no matter what type of lifestyle they live, we elevated them because of the money that they were making. And now we have our children emulating that, knowing they're never going to make that kind of money, but they're emulating that whole lifestyle and that culture because we elevated those people above the people who had the moral authority. In the 70s and 80s, there were intellectuals in our community that had more cachet than the rappers.
True.
Yeah. There were people who were thought leaders who we would go to before we say, okay, well, let me give this dude a mic, even though he done spent 10 years in jail, but he came out and flipped that and did these deals and made $100 million. So let's give him the mic and ask him how we should be living.
If you flip it right over to the white community, Eminem is not a prolific thought leader for them at all.
Exactly.
For the Chinese community, Yao Ming is not a prolific thought leader.
So, yeah, the state of Black leadership is in the dumps, if you ask me. We have no real leadership. We have no systems to produce leaders. We have no culture to produce leaders. We have no rites of passage to produce leaders. Leaders are built by the community from the ground up. You build leaders when they're young. We don't do that. Shout out to anybody out in the world, all the Black people who are doing rites of passage programs. We know that's a minority of people. The real true leadership. But I think that's why Neely Fuller and Claude Anderson's point about instilling a code of conduct is so powerful. Because just like Kendrick is saying, better against you, stupid, man. You stupid, man. But yeah, they killed off Malcolm, MLK, Huey Newton, all the other ones, right? And when they killed them off, eventually the momentum died. Eventually, the message didn't spur people to action. It just spurred people to emotions. So it changed. Things changed because those specific leaders were gone. But also, if we really think about, well, let's think about not necessarily the leadership of like a Huey P. Newton, but more so the leadership of Malcolm and Martin and how they came about to those positions. Remember, even Malcolm and Martin, both of them were bred. Martin Luther King was bred in the civil rights movement. Malcolm X was bred in the Nation of Islam, and then they were produced organically through there. But also, Martin Luther King replaced Vernon Johns, Dr. Vernon Johns, because Vernon Johns was deemed as too radical. So even in that, look at the controversy with the Nation of Islam that happened with Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. Without a true code of conduct that will help shape behavior, that will help shape cultural norms, that will help shape outcomes, that will help shape responsibilities, that will help shape punishment, that will help shape the way we think, the way we eat, the way we walk, the way we talk. The code should be the leader. And unfortunately, we are in a modern time where if a person has money, then they're a leader. Matter of fact, if you actually are doing real work in communities, you know specific certain communities that you're in, you need to look like you have money for people to listen to you. which is a problem. It says we have natural leadership structure across the entire country. Veterans, there are veterans all throughout our community. They're part of the community, know how to defend the community. We have natural leadership, but how is that natural leadership being manifested in real life? How is it being displayed in real life? Is that natural leadership actually, like, can we measure it? Can we show it? Can we see the outcomes of that natural leadership? That would be my question. Can we see the outcomes of that? So, said the brother who stopped Chud was a veteran. The brother who stopped that mass shooter was a veteran. Right, but those are two people. You got to remember, most of the time when Black Americans are attacked, there's nobody with that type of training around to save us. So we have to look at the bigger picture, not the micro. 9 out of 10 times, it ain't gonna be nobody there with training to actually protect Black people. And that's the thing that we have to be honest about. No, we could have more people if we gave a damn. Like Renee saying, it's not being it's not being cultivated, but stuff need to be cultivated. The culture need to be cultivated. The culture of protection need to be cultivated. The culture of consequences need to be cultivated. The culture of give a damn need to be cultivated. My only concern is the children educating them the right way. Oh, well, we know they're not educating the children. We know the children aren't being educated the right way. The adults can't read. The adults can't read. The average American adult is reading at a 6th grade level. The adults can't read. The adults don't want to read to their children. Shout out to all the adults who read to their children, have been reading to their children, and continue to read to their children. How many adults complain about it's their responsibility to make sure that their children learn? We don't even understand leadership on the domestic level within our own households. Our concept of leadership is far skewed. But I do agree, we don't need leaders. We need a lot of community. We need a code of conduct to be our foundation, and everything else is built from that code of conduct. We don't need the individuals as leaders. I do agree with that. He said, shit, even Malcolm knew them knits were flammable. Hey, you crazy. The baller bees have oversaturated our sociocultural, but also the vets aren't interested in acting because they have a pension and insurance to risk. No more punching down on FBA. Well, FBA got to stand up. We got to make sure we stand up, and we got to stop just talking. And I'm not saying that for you. I'm not saying you are just doing that, but I'm just saying us as a whole. We talk too damn much. We talk too much, and we ain't gonna bust a grape. And most people know that. We're the only ones that don't know that. We really believe all the hype, but we know we don't have the results. If we look at the scoreboard, it ain't there. So it's easy to put a tablet in front of the kids to keep them out. Right. Well, that's one of the reasons why real leadership is not being cultivated even at a level with the children, because the adults don't even, the leadership hasn't been cultivated within themselves. But too many of us are enamored by the glitz and glam. So if they shine bright, they have a lot of money, they're on TV, they have celebrity status. If they are endorsed by the white power structure, we deem them as leaders. We will listen to anybody. Look how, look how Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, Pastor Cheyenne Bryant shot to the top. If you are charismatic, you can be a leader. If you make people feel good, you can be a leader. You don't even have to know how to spell the word leader. But if you look like a leader, then you can be a leader. We don't know what leadership is. We don't even have a definition for ourselves of what leadership is. We don't even have anything to match it up to match people's actions and behaviors up to. No kind of definition. That's our problem. And then going back to us talking too much and not doing enough. So that's pathetic. I know. Yep. Would you rather live in a place where your children grow up free from harm and safe, or continue to live as we're living now? How do we make it safe for our children? Well, as Neely Fuller would say, we have to replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice. But black people have to give a damn. And that's, I think, one of our biggest issues is we don't care enough to make everything safe, to replace the system, to unite. Most people only care about what's going on in their life, their pockets, their family, and most of us are selfish. So we have to change our mindsets. Nothing happens, nothing moves forward until our mindset changes. And that's the reason why they spent so much time conditioning us. When the mindset changes, then we can get real actions. But until the mindset changes, and enough of us. Now, there's a good number of us who have had a mindset change, and if we so happen to choose to build something for ourselves, then that can make it a lot more safer, but you're still within the system behind enemy lines. So as a whole, we would have to choose to do something different. Said vets would step up to the plate they've called to. I say this, child of God, if it was on the vets in my city, I would rather the YNs step up. In my city, I'd rather the YNs step up instead of the vets, because the vets are totally incapacitated. I don't even know if the vets, like, and I'm just talking about my city in particular. I don't even know if the vets in my city are even viable when it comes to that. So many vets can't even take care of themselves. Now, if we can get organized the vets who are capable, who are still mobile, who are still agile, who still have the mindsets and things like that. But I do agree that we do need to organize that, and that going to the mind that you and Battle Genja have been two people consistently talking about organizing the vets. So I give y'all credit for that. Interesting how that white man wasn't worried about going to prison. He wasn't. Interesting, ain't it, Renee? Interesting, ain't it? He was ready to really stand on it. Interesting, ain't it? And I guarantee you white people not gonna have no mass debates about that either. One of Shahrazad Ali's books tells us step by step how to protect our kids and prepare, but people demonize her for certain opinions about black women because black women got in their feelings. Those type of black women got in their feelings. We don't like to be told the truth. We like to be, all my time on social media, things I realized about black people. We like for people to make us feel good, and we like trauma porn. Anything that's gonna make us think, we don't really like that much. Trauma porn and things that make us feel good. And Afro diaspora is stronger than an FBA, heterodoxy, solo fact. Hey man, look. I've been saying it, and I don't know how many more ways I can say it. I've been saying it till I'm blue in the face. We should look at ourselves as all links in the chain and make sure your link is strong so we can link this chain and be a strong chain. But you know. You say leave the United States. I remember white supremacy is a global system, and they got a lot of racism down there too in South America and Latin America. Yeah, but what would they lead them to? What do you? Oh, my bad, Elizabeth. When you're saying yeah, but what would they lead them to? Is exactly what were you asking that for? My bad. Yeah, we don't. Well, we don't care. We be nice. You're right. We don't care unless it impacts us individually and personally. If it happened to somebody we don't know, we don't care. Gwendolyn, how you doing? COVID-19 taught us to be self-sufficient at this point. You would have thought, yeah, you would have thought. Yeah. Well, none of us, Miss NBC, how you doing? No, I agree with you, Miss NBC. That's not an excuse. It's a reality. And I think we need to start being. We need to create an environment where we can be honest about that. I agree with you. Well, I will say this: you are not making an excuse. You are not making an excuse. We don't have the right mindset. We don't have the right perspective. We can't talk about the Willie Lynch letter on one end and then act like we don't have the residual effects from the conditioning, the programming. Now, the excuse comes in for those of us who know better and choose not to do better. Then those people are using excuses. But nah, I'm with you. Like, we are still in survival mode. Too much of us are in survival mode. That's why things aren't happening the way we want it to happen as a mass of people. Now, I like that idea though, Child of God. I like that idea of the vets getting with the YNs and training them. That's a great idea. That's a good idea. The vets with the military training, patients and all that stuff, getting with the YNs and training them. That would get them YNs some discipline and all that stuff there. That's a great idea. Great idea. And because the connection to Elizabeth's comment under that, saying that the system ensures YNs don't understand their real adversary. And so the vets, making sure we equip the vets with the right information, and the vets and training the YNs will help them learn that. So thank you. The vets are out of commission for a reason. Vets don't mean competent because of their relentless masculine stance, keeping them from getting the help they need. People who talk a good game but don't really understand the problem. Yep. Yeah, hey, Spook Who Sat by the Door, my favorite movie. I was talking to my pops about that not too long ago. I asked him, has he seen the movie? He read the book and not seen the movie, but The Spook Who Sat by the Door, great movie. But it's understanding strategy though. But all of this is in connection to our vulnerability as a group of people. Our mental state, what we are as a people, our survival mode, our extreme survival mode, our ignorance, whether that ignorance is just innocent ignorance or like intentional ignorance. I do believe a lot of black people, I believe there's enough black people who understand what's going on, but they don't want to risk what they have to change anything. So if your vulnerability means their safety, they would do it. Yeah, we do. We need Renee, we need everything. We need hammers, glue, nails, a tool belt. We need all type. We need real black people to stand up and do things. But once again, that's why I always want to give a shout out to the real black people who are doing things, but they need support. There are a lot of black people. Stop looking at the national level. Stop looking on national levels and look locally. Go in your local community and find the people who are doing things in your local community and support them. Hey, I'm just saying, Renee, we need something. We need some Gorilla Glue. We need everything to get this thing started and try to hold this thing together. But for real, like, start in your local community. Stop looking national. I think that's one of our problems too, is we try to look nationally. Look locally. And hell, your local community might need you. I'm just saying. It's not our job to try to, as individuals, to put a cape on and save the whole community, but it is our job to do something where we can do something, because those things could lead to us being less vulnerable in at least in our local communities. Think about if we have an abundance of local communities around the United States, black local communities who are a bit safer because we gave a damn just a bit more. And we understood just a bit more. Giving a damn, those of us who know better, do better. That's how we start get the ball rolling for a change in the culture, change in the mindset, a change in the way we exist. I'm just saying. So as we close tonight, I want everybody to remember that these stories are not just about a shooter in Georgia, a criminal couple in West Virginia, or a debate about leadership. These stories are about vulnerability. A vulnerable family can become a target. A vulnerable child can become a victim. A vulnerable community can become dependent on poor leadership. History teaches us that no community serves on emotions alone. Communities survive through preparation, organization, discipline, and leadership. The question is not whether racism exists, because we already know it exists. The question is whether we're building the institutions, networks, and leadership necessary to reduce our vulnerability to it. Who is protecting the children? Who is preparing the next generation? Who is organizing the community? Who is developing leaders? Who is teaching self-respect, self-determination, and collective responsibility? These are the questions that we must answer, because every generation inherits problems, but every generation also has the opportunity to create solutions. If we want stronger families, stronger communities, stronger institutions, and stronger leadership, we cannot wait for someone else to build them. We must build them ourselves.